Osho, The Joy of Living Dangerously. Full summary. Before we begin, if you'd like to explore Osho's The Joy of Living Dangerously in its full depth and experience the complete teachings and practices beyond this summary, you can get the book through the link in the description below. Your support helps us continue creating spiritual book summaries and meditations that awaken deeper awareness. There comes a moment in every person's life when comfort begins to feel like a cage. Everything looks calm, predictable, and safe, yet deep inside, something whispers, "You are not alive." This is the essence of Osho's message in The Joy of Living Dangerously. He tells us that true life begins only when we step beyond safety and into the unknown. You have been taught to avoid risks, to follow rules, to live in certainty, but that certainty has made you mechanical. You repeat routines, wear masks, and call it living. Osho challenges that illusion. He invites you to live not as a machine, but as a flame burning, wild, and aware. This book is a wake-up call for the soul. It reminds you that real joy does not come from security, but from movement, change, and unpredictability. The world teaches you to settle down, to plan, to control every outcome, but life is not meant to be controlled. It is meant to be experienced, moment to moment, in full awareness and trust, and that requires courage, the courage to live dangerously. Osho begins with a bold truth. Only the individual who dares to be himself can know what life truly is. Society trains you to fit in, to please others, to follow traditions, to become a copy of someone else's idea of success. But every act of imitation kills your spirit a little more. To live dangerously means to live authentically. It means to say yes to who you are, even if the world rejects it. Imagine a person who has spent years pretending to like a career he hates, just to be accepted by family or friends. One day, he stops pretending. He listens to his heart and follows what truly excites him: painting, traveling, or teaching. Suddenly, fear appears, but so does energy, creativity, and joy. That is the joy of living dangerously, discovering the freedom of being real. Sit in silence and ask yourself, whose life am I living? Then write down one thing you do only to please others. Stop doing it for 1 week. Observe how much lighter you feel. Osho says, life is insecure because it is alive. Everything alive changes. Flowers bloom and fade, people come and go, health rises and falls. Yet we suffer because we resist this natural flow. We want guarantees. We want tomorrow to look like today. But that resistance creates fear. To live dangerously means to say yes to uncertainty, to trust that even when things fall apart, life is guiding you towards something new. Think about the waves of the ocean. If a wave tries to freeze itself to avoid crashing, it dies. But if it moves with the tide, it dances. You are that wave. Stop trying to freeze your life into permanence. Flow. Each morning, whisper to yourself, I don't know what today will bring, and that's okay. Let this be your mantra. Watch how openness replaces anxiety. Osho teaches that love is one of the most beautiful ways to live dangerously. Real love is not control, not dependency, it is freedom. Most people love with fear. They cling, they demand, they expect. They make contracts instead of connections. But love cannot breathe inside a cage. To love truly is to allow the other to be free, even to walk away. Only in freedom does love flower. Imagine holding a bird in your hand. The tighter you squeeze, the sooner it dies. But if you open your palm, it may fly or it may stay. Either way, the moment is alive. That's how love should be, alive, not imprisoned. Look at someone you love and silently say, you are free. Then see how your heart softens. That is love without fear. That is dangerous because it is real. The past is dead, Osho says, and the future does not exist. Only this moment is real. Yet most people live everywhere except here. They are lost in regrets, fears, or expectations. Living dangerously means coming home to the now, because the present moment is the only place where life happens. When you are fully present, even the simplest act, breathing, walking, smiling, becomes sacred. Imagine drinking a cup of tea. If your mind is in yesterday's argument or tomorrow's worry, you miss the warmth, the taste, the fragrance. But if you drink it with full awareness, it becomes meditation. That awareness is aliveness. That is living dangerously because few people dare to be fully here. Once a day, do something ordinary with full attention. Wash dishes, walk, or eat. Feel every sensation. If thoughts come, smile and return to the now. Each moment lived consciously is a victory over fear. Osho often distinguishes between loneliness and aloneness. Loneliness is sadness born from dependence, the feeling that you are incomplete without someone or something. Aloneness, on the other hand, is wholeness, the realization that you already are complete. Living dangerously means being unafraid of your own company. It means sitting quietly without distractions and discovering the vast space within you. Imagine a person who cannot be alone for even an hour without checking their phone or calling someone. They are terrified of meeting themselves, but one day they decide to face the silence. At first it's uncomfortable. Thoughts scream, emotions rise, then something shifts. Behind the noise there's peace, there's presence. That is the moment of awakening, when you realize you were never lonely, you were only avoiding yourself. Spend 30 minutes alone today, no music, no phone, no conversation. Just breathe. Notice how thoughts come and go. Slowly, peace will emerge like sunlight after a storm. That is your true self. Osho says, comfort is death disguised as life. The more comfortable you become, the more your spirit sleeps. Society tells you that comfort is success, a stable job, a predictable routine, a quiet life. But Osho reminds you that comfort numbs the soul. Freedom, not comfort, is what makes life worth living. And freedom is never comfortable. It demands courage, uncertainty, and growth. Think of the butterfly. Before it flies, it must break its cocoon. That struggle is painful, but it's the only way to grow wings. The same is true for you. When you choose comfort, you stay in the cocoon. When you choose freedom, you learn to fly. Identify one comfort that keeps you stuck. Maybe it's staying silent to avoid conflict or avoiding change. For 1 week, challenge it. Speak up, move, take action. Growth begins where comfort ends. According to Osho, creativity is life's natural expression through you. Every human being is born creative, not necessarily as a painter or writer, but as a creator of life itself. Yet most people are afraid to create because creation means exposure, risk, and failure. Living dangerously means creating without fear of judgment. It means expressing your uniqueness. Think about a child drawing on the wall, free, unashamed, fully alive. That's how life wants you to live. But society teaches you to censor yourself. You begin to create only what others approve of. Osho invites you to become a child again, spontaneous, playful, open. Create something today with no goal. Sing, write, dance, draw, cook, and don't judge it. Let creation be joy, not performance. Osho calls meditation the greatest risk because it takes you beyond the known. When you close your eyes and turn inward, you step into a dimension without boundaries. The mind resists because it cannot control that vastness. But once you cross that threshold, you find immense silence and freedom. Meditation is dangerous to the ego because it dissolves it. Imagine sitting quietly and suddenly realizing that the you who worries and plans doesn't truly exist, it's just thoughts passing by. What remains is pure awareness. That's meditation, not an activity, but a state of being. Sit in silence for 10 minutes daily. Don't try to control your thoughts. Watch them. As you watch, distance appears between you and the noise. That space is your liberation. Fear is not the enemy. Osho says it's a teacher. Whenever you feel fear, it means life is inviting you to grow. Fear shows where the boundary of your comfort zone ends. Living dangerously means walking toward that fear, not away from it. The greatest transformation happens when you face what scares you most. Think of someone afraid of public speaking. Every time they avoid it, fear grows stronger. But the moment they speak, trembling, something beautiful happens. The fear weakens, confidence expands. Write down one fear that limits your life. Take one small action against it today. Remember, courage is not the absence of fear, it is moving forward despite it. Osho teaches that life is not random chaos, it's intelligent and compassionate. When you live dangerously, you begin to trust existence. You stop fighting, stop controlling, and start flowing. Trust does not mean passivity, it means participating in life's dance with openness. Think of a river. It doesn't question where it's going. It flows knowing that the ocean awaits. When you trust life, everything becomes easier. You begin to see that every difficulty is a lesson, every ending a beginning. Before sleeping, close your eyes and say, I trust life. Let go of one worry. Observe how your breath deepens. That simple act can change your entire vibration. Osho says one of the greatest prisons of the modern mind is the need for others' approval. You spend your life trying to fit into invisible molds to be liked, respected, validated. But living dangerously means dropping this need entirely. When you no longer depend on others to define your worth, you become free. True joy is born not from praise, but from authenticity. Imagine you're walking through a market. Every stall tries to sell you an identity, success, popularity, perfection. You stop buying. You walk away empty-handed but lighter. For the first time, you breathe as yourself. That's the joy of self-acceptance, raw, untamed, real. The next time you make a decision, pause and ask, am I doing this from truth or from fear of judgment? If it's fear, change direction. Do what feels right, even if no one claps. To live dangerously, Osho says, is to live without clinging to people, possessions, or ideas. The more you hold on, the more life slips away. Letting go doesn't mean losing. It means creating space for new life to enter. Imagine carrying a suitcase full of old clothes, memories, regrets, identities. You can't collect new treasures until you release the old. Life constantly asks you to let go of control of the past, of expectations. Every sunset teaches this truth. To rise again tomorrow, the day must end. Once a week, release one thing that feels heavy, delete an old message, forgive someone, or let go of a plan. Notice the peace that follows. That peace is space, the ground for new creation. Osho believed seriousness is a disease of the ego. Serious people are rigid, fearful of mistakes, obsessed with results. But life is not a problem to be solved. It's a game to be played. Living dangerously means embracing playfulness, the ability to laugh at yourself, to dance without reason, to be free like a child. Think of children running in the rain. They don't ask, will I get sick? They just run, laugh, fall, get up again. That is the purest form of meditation, spontaneous joy without fear. Osho says, when you play, existence plays through you. Do something playful today, skip, sing, joke, or dance for no reason. Let go of the inner judge. You'll discover that laughter can be enlightenment in disguise. Living dangerously doesn't mean being careless. Osho clarifies that responsibility is not about control but awareness. To be responsible means to respond fully to each moment, not to manipulate it. When you live consciously, you naturally make better choices, not because you should, but because awareness guides you. Imagine holding a flower. You don't crush it with force or ignore it with indifference. You hold it gently present, caring, awake. That's real responsibility. Before making a decision, breathe deeply and feel the energy of the moment. Don't rush. Let awareness respond, not habit. Osho calls death the most misunderstood experience of all. We fear it because we never learned how to live. When you live fully, fear of death disappears. You understand that life and death are two sides of the same river flowing into eternity. To live dangerously is to live so intensely that even death becomes just another transformation. You smile because you know that nothing real ever dies. Only forms change, the essence remains. Meditate on impermanence. Watch a leaf fall, a candle melt, a breath dissolve. Whisper, this too shall pass. Feel peace, not sadness, in that truth. Osho's The Joy of Living Dangerously is not just a book, it's a rebellion against sleepwalking through life. It's a reminder that every safe choice costs you a piece of your soul. The real question is, will you choose security or aliveness? Step into the unknown. Speak when your voice trembles. Dance when no one's watching. Say yes when fear says no. Every time you act from courage instead of caution, you awaken a deeper part of yourself. The path Osho offers is not comfortable, but it is true. When you live dangerously, you discover that life itself supports you in ways you could never imagine. You begin to feel guided, connected, alive. So take a deep breath. Look around. This moment right now is your invitation to wake up. Don't wait for permission. The universe rewards those who dare. If this message resonated with you and you feel called to go deeper, follow the link in the description to get your copy of The Joy of Living Dangerously by Osho. Every purchase made through that link supports this channel and helps us share more timeless teachings of peace, stillness, and awakening. Take a breath, click the link below, and begin your own journey into the joy of living dangerously. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for being here and supporting this journey.